Okay, here we are in the boot. I've just popped this off with two hands because it's a lot easier than trying to do it with one. Then I'm going to want to pop this panel up, remove that. So now we can see the back of the light unit. Let's get some light on the subject. So you can see there's a nut there, and down there are two nuts. These are 10mm, and you're going to need a deep-ish socket to get them. So there are little access holes here that feed through to the nuts, and they're really not tight. You can usually undo these by hand. They're not supposed to be too tight because if they were, they could potentially damage the plastic light unit if someone does them too tight. So let's extract all three of these. There's a second hole down there, if you can just see that. Do I have to go on top? Yes, I do. So we can undo this. There we are. That's number 2. And the third and final one is just straight ahead. There we are, that's all 3 bolts off, so that should release the whole unit. It's just stuck on a little bit. It's bonded and the seal's going, you can just hear it. Again, no actual damage on this. It does work. There's no need to cause any damage. Could be used as spares. I would say it could be sold, but this one looks a little bit ugly, so I don't know if anyone would pay for it. There we are. Now, obviously, you don't need to remove this if you're just changing bulbs, but because we're changing the unit, you do. Now, the new unit doesn't come with bulb holders, so we're going to take the bulb holders with us. We're going to make note of what colour wires go where, so we make sure we put them back in the correct place, and then we're going to start disconnecting the spade connectors. This is the replacement unit. I'm going to go clear this time on the rears, so this one is completely clear. If we bring this and sit this down in the same manner, we've got a couple of plastic covers for the mounting studs, so they need to be taken off. This one has been fitted with its own earthing wire for some reason. I'm guessing that's because it's having a bad earth is common. Ironically, bad earths are common on light units that share a common earth, which is what that is. I'll keep this just in case I ever need it, but for now I will reuse the loom that's connected to the car, just because there's no issues with it at the moment. I'll keep hold of that. That'll be a nice little repair wire if I ever need it. So we can now figure out what each bulb is and replace them. So let's start with the top. Grab hold of the bulb holder, twist it anti-clockwise, and that'll release it. So this is a clear bulb which would light up white inside a red housing, so that would be a red light lit up. There's only one filament in there, so that will be the fog light. So this is not going to be used. We are going to upgrade to LED. This is going to go into here, and that will be in the top compartment, which is clear, but we need it to light up red, so we're going to need to use a red LED with the same fitment pattern as that. So I have this one, which is a red LED. It is an opposite bayonet, 1 pin, and the bayonet pins are the same height, so that just goes nicely into there, twists in, and again, let's just use a bit of red rubber grease just to annoy you a bit further, just so that slides on there quite nicely. Find the locating pin for this. There's 3 on these. They're in a triangle formation, and one of them's bigger than the rest, so that way you can't get it the wrong way around. And on here, I don't know if you can see, But that's a small one, that's a small one, and that's a slightly bigger one. So if I get the slightly bigger guiding pin there, pop that into a slightly bigger hole, and then push it down and twist. There we go, it puts us in position. We've got one pin touching the common earth rail and one pin touching the contact that will have a 12 volt supply to it. So, next one, that sits in a clear lens, and it is a clear bulb with a single filament, so that is a reverse light. Again, this is opposite bayonet, same height, single point bulb. So we're going to replace this with an LED, single point contact, opposite bayonet, same height pins, straight in, and why not, let's just put some red rubber grease on. Definitely meant to be done. Big locator pin goes to the bigger hole. There we are, and there we are, we're in. Next one, this is in a clear lens and it's an orange lacquered bulb, so that's an indicator obviously. That is offset bayonet, single pin, and we've got one more of these chrome indicator bulbs, so that's going to go in there nicely. Now these bulb holders are all in good condition, there's no corrosion on them, and no dirt really. They're not really dirty because they've been inside the car in a place where there's no air movement, well, other than ventilation, there's no air movement. Even in that area there's no it's not in the path of the main ventilation system for air to exit the vehicle. There we are, that one's in. Last one. So this is the stop and tail bulb. This I did buy an upgrade for an LED, however there was a bit of an issue. I'll show you what it is. So I bought two LEDs, one to start with, and when I thought there was an issue with that I bought another one, a different design, and the same issue happened. So on these you have two circuits. The outside is the earth, one circuit is for a dim light and the other circuit is for a bright light, so you can have the tail light as your dim light and the bright light joins in when you press the brake. However, on a normal filament bulb there's two different circuits. One of them is for one filament and one of them is for another. Simple. On this and on the previous one that I bought, for some reason, I'll show you the previous one as well, it's a different design completely. For some reason they use both of these pins go to the same circuit, so when you're powering one up the other one becomes live, and as that's already touching the connector in the car and part of the loom, it was causing a short circuit. It was either flashing and doing nothing, or it was turning on but only dim. So I couldn't get them to work. Now obviously all it would take for them to work is for them to be wired in the same way that a filament bulb is, and for some reason 2 times now they've been designed differently than that. I can't find any online that specifically say that they're wired in such a way that, you know, the circuits are separate. I don't know why people even make these. So until I can find something that does work, which I am determined to do, but I'm not in a rush, I'm going to use this instead. This is just a red lacquered filament bulb, stop and tail lamp. So twin terminal, opposite bayonet, different height pins, so you can only put it in the right way. So I'll use this for now. So where are we? That's the wrong way. That's the right way. Let's just remember to use your red rubber grease on all your metal contacts. Why not? think I would just be using a little bit of copper grease there. You can just use WD-40 or something if you want, but you don't need to use anything. I just like to have something there to, where there's two pieces of metal touching and electricity has to travel through it, there's going to be a bit of resistance there. I like to just have something to keep the connection clean or increase the conductivity. But yeah, this should be fine. That's the way it goes. Twist it, and she's in. So that's this finished with. Just need to go and reinstall this. Okay, so as we can see, this is the bridge plate illumination light, or number plate light, or license plate light. We're just using a little Torx driver here to get these screws out. There we have one. And two. And those torque bits are, you need a T10 torque torque driver or torque bit to get them out. And then we have little locator holes there that you can use to just poke something in and pull the lens off. Once we get the lens off, we can see that the bulb is captive on this one, and we can just give it a bit of a wiggle and pull, and it's the same T10 wedge bulb. So what we're going to do is give this a clean, because it's absolutely filthy, and replace this with a T10 wedge LED. Okay, unfortunately I'm now being rained on. I'm going to try and pop this LED into the socket. I've got the lights on so that I know I'm getting it the right way round. There we are. I've got it the right way round. It is an LED, so it'll only work one way. So now I just need to replace that cover, which is cleaned up fairly nicely. Not perfectly, but you know, that's the best we can do, I guess. Pop that in there before we get any rain on it. I have changed my reg plates over to my personalised ones, which I stupidly forgot to press record for, so no footage of that, but it's not especially exciting stuff. Not that this is, but you know, that's even less exciting. Little bit of corrosion going on there on my cheapo reverse camera. Yeah, I might have to just touch that up, but that's on and looking lovely. Okay, so in reverse order then, obviously the number plate light has already been done, so if we start to fit the rear cluster, I've been round and had a tidy up, as you can see, so we're ready to go in. So the first thing is to correctly orientate it like this, and then connect all the wires back to the place they went to on the correct spade terminals. So I'll just do that now, as I need two hands. Okay, so there we are, loose but with all the wires connected. So all I need to do now is just go around the rubber seal one last time, and then make sure I'm happy it's seated correctly, and then aim these studs for the holes in the bodywork and bring it home. Okay, so I've just pushed it in there, so there's nothing holding it in place. Now from this side I can see the thread. I'm just going to put a nut on there. Okay, so I've got that one on there. I've just done it just finger tight. You can see the other two down there, so if I'm careful and I'll load up the socket on the end of the extension, and I try to keep the socket at a good angle and don't disturb it, I might be able to get it on. Oh, there we are. Okay, so that's barely tight there. Do the same thing with the last one. Right, so I can't go any tighter than that. I'm not happy with it, I can see straight through, but I'm going to leave it there for a bit, maybe give it an hour, come back, do it again, and then give it overnight and do it again, and it should conform nicely. It's better to do this in hot weather, or if you can slightly heat it, but I'm not going to attempt to heat that in case I melt something. So I'm going to say that is done for now, but just needs retightening. So let's go to the next thing, which is the side repeater. Okay, so this one's really easy. We've got our new side repeater lens there. We're just going to pop that into the plug, pop the plug into that. Make sure we've gone in far enough to get the little pin past the locking tab, which we have, and then all we need to do is push it back through the hole, and as we can see here we've got a little ridge to get over, so we just apply, try to get the back in first around the ridge, which it is, and then just push the front and it should click. There we go, that's it. Easy peasy. I've polished this reflector up. There is some dulling going on down there, if you can see that, but that is not something that can be removed. Also, I noticed that just giving it a light wipe was enough to bring off a few little bits down here, which are just ready for coming off, I guess. They're just worn out, so just be very careful when you're trying to polish or clean these surfaces. So this will go in like this, and the last thing we did was unclip the earth wire from there. So I'm going to clip this back on as I bring it in. Ooh. That's clipped in. Then we're going to bring the lens down into position. We've just got those 3 plastic tabs, so if you remember there's 2 on the bottom side. We can just offer them up. 1, where are we here? Let's stop it. There we go. 2, and the third one. Third one's at the top there. I want that to go on. Oh, is that in? That feels like it is on, yeah. Right, so that's clipped in now. So we are in position. Now we are ready to put the front lens on. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've removed the, I'm going to call it a cowling, I've removed it from the front fogs, well, on this one anyway. It's because I noticed that the light is very dim on the output, and I've had a little test of the output from an LED, and it's just as bad. You basically, it's a very, very dim light. It works. It's terrible as a fog light. So I've removed that. It's only held in with pins, so it can be put back if need be, but it just allows the full brightness of the LED. It was almost encompassing the whole LED. All the light was being lost inside that cowling, and hardly any of it was reaching the reflective material. The patterning on the inside of the lens, which I believe it goes this way round, that is designed to point the fog light, the light coming from the front fogs, in a specific location anyway, so it wouldn't matter where the light shines in here, if it hits all the surfaces or if it comes straight out, it will still get focused in the correct area via these ridges in the glass, so I don't have to worry too much about that. So first things first, we've got the seal, which I have cleaned, it is in very good condition. I've nourished it with some of this stuff and I absolutely loved it. So that is the seal in place, nice and nourished. The glass is cleaned, polished and free of contaminants, so we're going to go in with the glass. That just kind of sits in place and then pushes down into position. There we go. Because I'm just awkward. I want to put one here at the top. I want to put one here at the top. There's actually little indents where it shows, well, it doesn't show anything, but it's an indent that I assume is meant for a clip being put there, which would mean there was originally 1, 2, 3, 4 on top, one at the side. I am going to put one at each side. This feels correct to do that. One on the other side. Just hook it over the glass, apply some force towards the plastic side, and it eventually goes on. Where can we put one here? Yeah, I think let's just avoid the middle because that's where the mechanism goes for the wiper, so one here at the end, and one here at this end. That should do us nicely, so we are sealed again. Insert the bulbs, I believe. So we're going to start with the two here, which are both H3s. Undo the clip. You would think that this can go in either way, but there's a rounded end and a square end. So it can only go in one way. I don't like the wire clips on bulbs. I always think there should be a better way of doing it, and there is, as seen in some makes and models. Now, H3s kind of make it good though, because when you put the wire clip over, you've got a little piece of wire here that's not going to get caught on the clip. You can just move it out of the way. It's loose. That plugs into the red wire, and that is very loose. I'm not happy with that. I'm going to get something that can squeeze the wire, the clip. Ooh, what did I do? Right, I think you're stable. If you fall on me, I'll know what's happened. So what I'm going to do here is just use a very rudimentary way of squeezing this female spade terminal, just closing up the gap a little bit there. This male spade that's come with the bulb is thinner than the previous one, so that is now a nice tight fit. That will not come out unless you pull it out. So time to do the same thing on the other side, and that is in securely now, so that one is finished. We can close this up, but there's no seal. Took the seal out and cleaned it. Symmetrical, so it doesn't matter which way we put it. I think that's how it went. So that fits in here. And then we push this into position, and that clips in. Beautiful. Now the last piece. This is a H4, and I've upgraded to an LED H4 beam. So that is this. We have a H4 pattern fitment, but the previous bulb had this on it as a way of locking it in place, because there's no other tab to do it. So for that reason, we're going to have to dismantle this and use just the metal ring part, because the whole lot won't fit in there. it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to need the metal ring to lock this in place, and thankfully it just comes off via these little tabs. I've got the ring now behind the fitment that the LED came with, so I've got to match up the 3 prongs to where they sit in the headlight, and it's not immediately obvious. We've got 2 smaller ones and 1 bigger one, and I think that is the bigger one over there, so it should fit nicely like this. How are we looking there? Yes, right. Then again, you're not supposed to have aftermarket bulbs, but there we are. We're locked in position, nice and secure. We just need to plug this in here now. Oh, hang on a minute. Don't forget a bit of red rubber grease, just to wind you up. Plug that in, and then post the wiring out of the way because we don't need it. And now we're ready to pop the cover on. This only just clears. I mean, I don't know. Probably got somewhere between 5 and 10 mil of clearance, which is quite a big tolerance in some industries. Anyway, let's pop the seal in. There we are. Beautiful. 2 feet in one side. Push down on the other end, and then wire connector over the top, wire retainer over the top. That is us sealed up with all the bulbs in, so we're getting there now. We just need to add the wiper module, which is here. So where are we up to with this? We've just given it a clean, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to apply some, yep, you guessed it, red rubber grease to the shaft, so to speak, and I'm gonna bring down this seal over that and turn. That's it. Let's just encapsulate all that grease. Push down, push down, push down. That is now sealed, lubricated, nourished. Then spread that around the rubber just to, you know, complete the nourishment program. And then just up and down the shaft, we've got things to go on here. We want them to slide, except for the teeth at the top. Nothing wrong with getting a little bit on the thread though. A little bit on the tips of these forks, just to help them slide home. And we are good to go. So, I think we just had this sleeve, didn't we? That goes over the top there. Then we're ready to mount the motor. So to bring this up the right way, we have the 2 holes here and here for the bracket, and the feet clamp in under there. So if we slide these this way, remember to get the shaft in this holder. That looks like it's gone home to me. 5 to 10 massive ugga-duggas. Only kidding. That'll do it. So that's the motor mounted for now. Then we have the paint trim. So I have cleaned this and give it a little coating of wax, so it's all nice and slippery. It goes this way around, and we've got a locating tab there. 3 clips, 1, 2, 3, and a locating tab there. And we've got to get this shaft through the hole as well. So, with everything lined up, you can clip 1, 2, 3. That's it. They're quite soft clips, so they are locked in. Why won't you clip in? Ah, it's clipped in on an angle, and then you can clip the other side in. Nice. This one doesn't have that issue. It clips in lovely, I believe. There we are. There we are. So that's our vents back on. A brand new blade to fit into there. That's just a push fit. So there we are. We're in. This needs to go through that hole. Pull that through. Then pop that onto there. We're going to extend the arm. Oh, extend the arm. That, get it down to the spline. Move the arm down into the rest position. Make sure we're happy with where it's sat. At that point, then we can bring the arm back up and do nothing but jiggle back and forth to get it down onto the spline. There's no rotational movement there, so we're not going to lose our position. Then we just need the nut to go on the end of there. Get that finger tight. Once that's finger tight, we just need to tighten that up a little bit more so it brings the arm home on the spline. At this point you can bring the arm down to get clearance. Okay, that's nice and tight. We're sitting where we want to be. We've got the clip for the end of the wiper arm, so that just sits in like that, clips on. What I'm going to do now is just give everything a bit of a nourish by giving it a bit of a spray and wipe it down with a cloth, and that'll just make it all nice healthy plastic and rubber. This is sort of plastic and rubber together. It's plastic here, and then here it's soft. It's like rubberized plastic or plasticized rubber, I don't know. Also makes it look a bit nicer. Give that a rub down now and then come and meet me with the installation. Okay, so reinstalling the headlamp unit. So we want to get the tube for the washer. It's currently at the bottom. Bring that through. Make sure it's at the back. We want to plug in the wire, and don't worry, I've put some red rubber grease on the end of there. We want to push that through the hole here, and then that needs to be brought up inside, and then that needs to be reconnected to this plug. I don't know if you can see that there. That goes into there, like that. Press that in. That's that bit done. Then we've got the main connector, which I've red rubber greased the terminals for. That can just about reach to here at the moment, so we'll plug this in. Beautiful. Then we've got the two connectors for the indicator unit, that they need to be ready to come through this hole. Then as we bring it together, we can slide the plastic rubber plate, which goes that way, I believe, down into here. Once this plate's in position, we can make sure that the tube is coming through the little gap and attach our tube here that we've cleaned to the connector for it, which I'll need 2 hands for. Okay, so that's connected, so we don't need to worry about that. Make sure that's not getting nipped anywhere, that's out of the way. Then we can bring the light into position. There is a locating tab here that needs to go into the wing, and on the other side we need to, if you can see the bolt that was kind of captive, that sits through this panel, and you should be able to get the bolt hole in the headlight lined up to the point where you can start screwing that in with your finger and you know you're in the right place. Once you've got that one started, you should be able to then go in from the top hole, and that one should line up with a little bit of wiggle. You should be able to get it to line up with the top hole. Get that one started. Once those are in, those two are in loose, you can get the other two and put those in this side. Once you've got all of them in loose, you can send them home. Let's get the others. And that is the headlight back in place. So we just need to add the new indicator lens. That is over here. We're obviously all ready with our red rubber grease. We can post the plugs through the holes now to meet us. Actually no, I think we're just going to send this home and then plug it in that way. So all we need to do is check that that gap and that gap is being populated by that pin and that pin. Slide it along nicely. That's feeling good. Make sure the wiper arm's not in the way, because it will be. Then what we do is we go around and check that that plastic pin is about to go into that round plastic black hole, which it is, and then from there we can press forward. There we go, we're clipped in. That is fitted. Just need to check here. You can see that the big white clip is protruding, and that means we're in place. So now we've got the plug with the two terminals together going on the bottom bulb, which has the two terminals together. Can't see very well here, but let's use my second hand. Okay, then we've got the black plug left that has the diagonal pins and it goes to the bulb holder with the diagonal pins. I can't really figure out which way is more fiddly, because this is quite tight getting those in. I suppose taking the bulb holder out of the unit and then doing it up here would be easiest. So I've explained the two hardest ways to do it in this video. Yeah. Okay, so we're in. The last thing left to do is to put the grill back on. Okay, so to get the grill back in, we just need to get these feet to locate into the holes in the bottom of the trim, and as that happens, these pieces should go through there and protrude as a little hole here, and we just get our clips and push our clips in, and that is everything back together. I think we should test it now, see what it looks like. I did the other side whilst you weren't looking.
So you kick the ball to me softly.